What's up, guys, and welcome to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Tomasello here with special guest Zul Edwards.
Hey, it's me. I'm back.
He's back again. Chris has the week off, so we found a suitable replacement. Well, a second suitable replacement. Our first replacement was Chimpy the chimpanzee, but she was booked.
You can't book her. It's too short notice.
Yeah. She was very. She gave us the rules ahead of time. You got to give her at least 2 weeks notice. And
I know. Let's be honest. You dropped the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I thought for sure you were gonna do like a bait and switch thing and be like, "It's Chris," and then I was gonna be like, "It's me. I'm Chris."
But the sad part is I thought about that, but the thing is we've done that like 6 or 7 times already with and I guess every time I think it's funny. And maybe it's not funny anymore.
I think it's funny, but it's fine. I like the straightforwardness. Let's get to it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's always funny to make fun of Chris, but
always.
Yeah. We always give him the nasaliest, like wieneriest voice too.
He doesn't really sound like that. No. It's weird.
Anyway. Yes, Zul is joining me today because we kind of have a special episode. We played a couple games this week that are pretty new, came out just this last week. New games, new demos of stuff coming out. And instead of having a topic later on, we're just going to focus more on these games that just came out, and plus some other stuff that we've been playing. But just kind of go a little bit more in depth as to some of these games and kind of give you our opinion on them.
Mm-hmm. A nice game-centric episode, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Chris is still working on Cat Catch for the Indie Arcade, so that will be next week. Zul, you listened to last week's episode. What were your thoughts on Cat Catch?
Well, sometimes you gotta catch a cat, and sometimes the cat catches you.
Wise words. Did you see the videos by any chance?
No, I didn't look them up yet.
Yeah, it's very confusing how the game works. We're not exactly sure if you're freeing the cats or if the cats are just in the way or they're just there in the background.
I didn't pick up on it, and I was just doing something else while I was listening to it, so I just didn't get a chance to watch the video. But I'm very curious.
Yeah. If you get a chance, check it out. But I'm pretty sure Chris will give us a very thorough review next week.
I'm sure he will.
All right, but enough dilly-dallying. Let's hop right in, and we're going to start with the Z-Man over here. Zul, what are you playing? What are you playing?
All right, starting with me. I've been playing a couple games, shockingly. So should I start with the newest game first, or should I just go with like the order I played them?
Hey, follow your heart, man.
Well, all right. My heart is black as coal and twice as small, so let's go.
Like the Grinch.
Like the Grinch, exactly. Let's go with, let's do a follow-up from 2 weeks ago, whenever I was here. I talked about Chasm.
Yeah.
I beat Chasm. It was very, very good. Yeah.
So, when you talked about it last time,
yes.
I can't remember. You were definitely past the halfway point, you thought, but you still weren't sure. Because you were doing a lot of backtracking, I remember.
Yeah, so from where I was the last time I talked about it, I was about like, I guess maybe like 70% way done. There was still like one area after that. No, there was 2 more areas after that, but I still had to do backtracking stuff a little bit. So like, I guess I played for another maybe like 4-ish hours, but I died a couple times, so that kind of extended it out a little bit. But it's weird. The part where I got up to before I stopped last time, like where I was talking to you guys, like up that part, I was like, this is so hard. Like, what is going on? Like, this is ridiculous. And then like when I started up and did that next area, once I figured out where to go, like I think I died like 3 more times, and one of them was on a boss. So like it definitely got easier for some reason. I guess because like I guess I took a break and then like I let my brain reset on how to play the game. Like, sometimes when like you beat your head against the wall against a game and like you just stop for like a day or 2 or like a week and you go back to it and you're like, oh, like I know how to play this game like a master now.
Yeah, I think we even talked about that on a very early episode of Press A Repeatedly. But yeah, it's crazy. Like you get in such this mindset and you just kind of have to like hard wipe it away, and then when you come back, it's just a breeze.
that's pretty much what happened. I was like, because I remember because I think you saw when, like, one day when I was doing all the jumping and challenges and stuff, like how precise they are.
Oh, with the
like,
laser bolts that were like on the ground, and
the laser bolts, you have to like jump and flip off the wall and like dash in the air and do all these backflips, and it was just like, before I took that break, I was just like dying, like, and missing every jump and like not understanding it. And the next time I played, it was just like second nature. I was just like, oh, well, yeah. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just doing it.
Yeah, I'm curious about the science of that, because I think it is something to do with, like, maybe just, brain waves and, like, your responsiveness and having them more active or faster to react, I guess, after resting, or just makes things feel more natural.
I don't know. Maybe this is like a dumb thing, but the brain's kind of like a muscle, right? Like maybe if like where you like you work out, say you work out your arm every single day, like the same 20 pounds is going to be heavier like on the third day. But if you take a break for 2 days, it's like easier because your muscles build up a little bit. Maybe like that has something to do with brain power. Like if you take a break and like let your mind process it and think about it, the next time you go back, it'll be easier. I don't know.
That's that makes sense to me. So what you're saying,
pseudoscience.
You're going on the record here saying that the more video games you play, the more buff you get.
Oh, that's always been my stance. That's never changed.
But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
I guess. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Just a dupe who likes video games.
Aren't we all?
But yeah, so that game was good. I didn't get like the perfect ending because I think in that game you have to like rescue villagers or whatever, and I think I missed a villager and like I didn't get all the items or something like that. But I was like, oh, whatever. Like I don't care. I got the silver medal instead of the gold medal when I beat the game. But like it was still good game. Pretty cool final boss. It was like a big like, I don't want to spoil it, but it was like a big like creepy Cthulhu-esque kind of like space monster, which I wasn't expecting.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And then so I was like, all right, let me go back and just like try and find stuff that like I missed like after I beat the game. So I was just screwing around, and like I noticed that the final boss chamber wasn't like locked off or closed off or anything. So I was like, oh, what happens if I go down here? And it started the final boss again. And I was like, nope. And I just turned the game off. So I was like, well, that's it for Chasm.
Yeah, that's weird. Is it just like if you beat him again, you get something else, or one of those things where like the final save was before the boss, so you just kind of reloaded it?
I wasn't sure. So I think maybe if you go back and get that last villager and like go back and like get the last items or whatever, and then beat the boss again, you'll probably get like the quote unquote good ending.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the gold medal or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, I beat it. I don't care. That one villager is just gonna sit in the cage for all eternity.
Look, one casualty out of however many you saved. That's whatever. It's
like one out of like 10. That's a 90. That's a good grade. That's an A minus.
Passing.
I'll take that. I'll take that all day.
Tell that to that villager's family.
Whatever. He's fine. So aside from Chasm, I started. So after I beat Chasm, I was like, now what do I play? Because I was kind of getting burned down on No Man's Sky a little bit. And I beat Chasm. Those were like the two games I talked about last week. Or like when I was done with one, I played the other. So like I was like, whatever. And I noticed, I think it was like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, Horizon Zero Dawn was on sale, like the complete edition for like $12. And I'm like, I never played this game, and I wanted to play it. So I bought it for $12, and I just downloaded it like after I beat Chasm and started playing that. And that's a very good game. I just started. Like I think I'm like 5-ish hours in. I briefly remember Chris talking about it one time and saying that like the intro was like 19 hours or something. He exaggerated a lot. And it was not 19 hours. It was maybe like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was anticipating a very long like intro, and like it was done in like a half hour, and I was like, well, what's the big deal? Like I don't know.
That same exact thing happened to me when I started playing it, because I was like, all right, I remember Chris saying how long and horrible this intro was, and like I really got to pay attention, and like it wasn't that bad.
No, it was pretty good. So I started playing that. I don't know, it's good. It's kind of hard to describe because like they came out around the same time as like Breath of the Wild, I remember, right? And like a lot of people kind of were like, whatever, it's like a Zelda ripoff, or like, it's not as good as Breath of the Wild, and like I don't know, it's pretty good. Like it does its own thing, you know what I mean? Like it's similar, but it's different at the same time. I really like Aloy. I didn't think I was gonna like her just because like I remember watching the trailer for the first time it came out, like, whatever, 2 or 3 years ago. And I just remember, like, she was so annoying because she would just constantly be talking.
Yes, I remember that. Oh, my God.
She still does that in this game, but, like, maybe I'm just used to it because in The Witcher, Geralt does that too. Like, he'll just be standing there and he'll be like, it's raining or something. Or like, oh, my boots are getting wet. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. And then... and then she does that now too. She's like, oh, I'll save this for later. Or, oh, I better be careful. And I'm like, whatever, I read like this little article online that like since she was like living by herself basically, like it kind of makes sense that she would talk to herself and like to keep from going insane.
Yeah, so, I was just going to comment on that actually, that when we saw that first video whatever years ago, and I remember also feeling that was so annoying how she kept talking to herself. But when you start playing a game and like, she is like being raised by this guy and like it's just her and him and they're outcasts, and then like when you first take over as Aloy as an adult, or I guess teenager, she is like leaving him for the first time and on her own for the first time.
Yeah.
So maybe mentally she's just trying to be extra cautious and like really like just try to be careful, and maybe that talking to herself is helping her remember things that she learned in her training and all this kind of stuff. And it started to make more sense like in the context of the story, and it didn't annoy me as much. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, kind of the same thing with me. I was just like, well, I guess it makes sense because like who else was she? Like, does she have to talk to her whole life? You know what I mean? She just talked to this old dude who like barely talked to her. So I mean, I guess maybe she made friends with herself, if that makes sense. I don't know, but so I was surprised at how not difficult, but how hard the monsters hit. I don't know if you remember like how hard they hit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So like. I remember, like, those little, like the little dinosaur robots, like the Watchers, are like the first enemy in the game or whatever.
Yeah.
So I remember I was just walking through the woods, and I shot an arrow at it, and I missed, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just melee it. And like, it just like did like a little kick, and seriously, it took off like a third of my health, and I was like, whoa, what the fudge is going on?
Yeah.
And then like it did a follow-up kick, and it took like another third of my health away, and I was like, this is like the first enemy in the game, like this is insane, like because. I always imagine, like, AAA games to be, like, a little more lenient, a little easier. Like, not like a Dark Souls kind of game, but a game like that, like, that's kind of like a story-rich, kind of like, kind of for everybody kind of game. But they don't pull punches, man. Like, if you're not careful, you're going to get wrecked in, like, a couple seconds. It was interesting.
Are you playing on hard or normal, do you remember?
Just normal, just regular normal.
Yeah, it's crazy. That I remember... Because you pretty early on you learn the ability to like hide in the bushes or whatever, and you like make a call, and the T-Rex guy comes over, and you can kind of like sneak kill him.
Yeah,
I was like, that's so cheap. I'm never going to use that. And then when I figured out like how like deadly these things are and how quickly they can kill you, I was taking advantage of that all the time.
Yeah, it's funny because it like. I guess it kind of, they really want you to play like a sneaky, like hunter, like brave kind of character. Like, like how the tribes are set up. Like you're a brave, kind of like, that Native American mindset where like you sneak and like hunt and like you have to be quiet and stealthy and stuff. And they like lean into that a lot, I guess, just because of like how the society is and how the game is set up. And I guess that really reflects in the gameplay because like, if you think about it in real life, like you're not going to run up to like a bear and like hit it with a spear. You know what I mean? You're going to like, you would, take shots from it from a bow and arrow or something and aim for like weak points. You wouldn't just it's like more realistic, quote unquote, as opposed to like just like video game-y, I guess. And also they're giant robots made of metal, like if you just whack it, it's not going to do a lot of damage, but
right.
If you hit like critical spots, it should do more damage. But yeah, I really like it. I'm like blown away by how good the graphics are, like like the cutscenes and stuff. Like there's one cutscene where like Aloy is having like a nightmare or something like that. I don't want to like spoil it. It's pretty early, but I still don't want to spoil it. But basically it's like a dream sequence where like she has like a fever because she got hurt and like all this weird stuff is happening and like it's very like surreal, and I'm just like, I was kind of just like, I don't want to say I was scared, but I was like, this is kind of creepy. Like it kind of creeped me out a little bit, and it was just so like well animated and like the graphics look like so real. I was like, this is kind of, it's interesting. Like I really enjoyed it. I like some of the other characters in the game don't look great, but Aloy always looks like, I'm like, it's like creepy how well she like looks graphically. It's like Uncanny Valley but like not in a bad way. It's just like I don't know. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, the game's somewhat of a technical marvel, like at some points, especially like when it's raining and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the environments are incredible. I remember when Aloy was a kid in the beginning of the game, though, I thought she looked weird.
She did look weird.
More like I don't know, more like Danny DeVito than like a child.
she had very, because I don't know, maybe she had like, you know, adult facial animation or like an adult like face capture, but it was like a kid. So like whenever she made like a grimace, because like she falls in the beginning of the game and like you see her like grimace and wince and stuff, and like it looked like an old man.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
Yes, that definitely weirded me out. But
yeah,
once you get past that, like it looks awesome.
Yeah, but yeah. So again, I'm still very early in the game. Like I really like it so far. I'm kind of shocked because it was one of those games where it was like, it's $12, whatever. Like, you know, I've heard about it. But like as I was playing it, like the first time I played it, I just kind of sat down. I played it for like 3 hours without even noticing. It just kind of like sucked me in a little bit. Like it's one of those games where like you have to pay attention though, so it's not like a good podcast game. And like I like podcast games where you just kind of turn your brain off. But like when I'm in the mood for it and like I just want to like get into the story, it's very enjoyable. But so yeah, that's another one. I think the only other game I played was the new game segment that we just introduced this episode.
Game.
all the jingles are kind of starting to sound the same.
What a lame segment title. All right, I got this idea where we're talking about a game that was recently released. You know, kind of like a new one. What should we call it?
You're fired. So the new game that I played, I was torn between Dragon Quest XI and Spider-Man this week because they both came out this week.
Yeah, so what cemented your decision there?
So I don't really know. I just I picked Dragon Quest XI. Spoiler alert. I don't know. I read reviews for both. I watched videos for both. Spider-Man seemed more like a podcast game, to be honest, like kind of shut your brain off. But I haven't played I guess the last turn-based RPG I played probably was Alliance Alive, but even that wasn't like super traditional because you had like skills and like I don't know that. Yeah, that was probably the last like JRPG because I played Ni no Kuni, but that wasn't traditional like turn-based. It was like, you know, kind of action RPG. And I don't know, I felt like I kind of wanted to play a JRPG again. So I picked up Dragon Quest, and I think I made the right call because I played it for about, let's see, what day is it? It's Sunday right now. I got it on Friday, and I think I played about 8 or 9 hours so far, I think. So, you know, I put in some hours.
Nice. Yeah. I was watching you play it the other night, and like just watching, I was pretty hooked on it. Yeah,
I really like the characters. I've only met like I guess I should. There's not much. Well, I guess I could talk about the story a little bit. So it's like a pretty classic Dragon Quest story. You're pretty much always like a hero. It's like so. I don't know if it's cliche because they're kind of like the first game that kind of like did this. I guess you know what I mean. Like the hero of light fighting like an ancient evil. I know those stories have been around like forever, but in terms of like JRPG games, you know what I mean. Like Dragon Quest 1 came out like before Final Fantasy, so like I guess it kind of like paved the way a little bit. So, but yeah, it's like the same kind of story. You're like the hero of light, like a descendant from the hero of light from years ago. And like when the hero of light is resurrected, then like the bad guy is also soon to be resurrected. So like so some people think that's like a good omen because you're like, oh, the hero of light's here. He's going to save us all. But some of the people think it's like a bad omen. Like, oh, if you're resurrected, then the bad guy's going to be resurrected soon. So throw him in the dungeon. And it's like, that really makes sense because like who else is going to beat the bad guy? you dope. So
yeah, it was weird.
It was weird. That was kind of like a dumb plot thing. But anyway, so you start off in a village, classic Dragon Quest stuff. You pretty soon you go off into the world. You meet a couple characters, and then you start off on your quest to eventually find clues to beat the big bad guy. So I have the main character, a friend he meets in prison, and then like I just did last night, I just got 2 mage sisters, and the characters are kind of what took me in. Like I've made this claim before that like if the game sucks, as long as the characters are cool, like I'm hooked. and I'm pretty hooked because like all the characters are really like cool so far. Like they have good interactions with each other. Like the one sister and like your buddy thief guy, like they don't get along, and like they have good banter with one another. Like the other sister is kind of like ditzy and just like, just funny like in her interactions with everybody in the party. The gameplay is just standard, JRPG stuff like attack, spells, abilities. Like after you gain a level, you get skill points and you can allocate them to get more abilities or more spells. Like it's just so like it's so like bare bones, but like it just works just because it's been tried and true and tested for like 30 years at this point. So like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's just so funny to me that like the same enemies, the same music, like the same like sound effects, like everything is the same from like Dragon Quest 1 to like now, just like updated. It's like the opening music is the same, like the battle music, the like all the enemy designs, like all the weapon designs and armor designs, like it's all the same, but like it still feels like fresh. Like it just looks like it's so weird because it's like cartoony but also like HD at the same time. So like it has that that cartoony Akira Toriyama like style, but like the textures are so amazing and like the lighting is so amazing and just like I don't know, it just works. Like I found myself like kind of like staring at the game. Like it's one of those games where like you just kind of like go first person mode and just look around at like everything because everything's so shiny and nice looking. But yeah, I very much enjoy it, and I'm going to play it after we're done recording.
Yeah, the game almost looks real, like at some points, and it's weird because it has such a cartoony texture to it.
It's very weird, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you made a really great point earlier, and you and I were talking about this the other day, but it's kind of like if you take, the Final Fantasy series and the Dragon Quest series, it's like one, the Final Fantasy series, they're kind of trying to evolve with each series. They're always trying to add something new, job class system in this game, or like, a huge cast of characters in this game, or starting to get away from turn-based to going into more action-based combat, online stuff. Like they really just kind of with each game are just trying to bring something new to the table. And then conversely, you have Dragon Quest, where it's kind of like the same idea of how the game works and just kind of refining it for each series. And it's just really interesting to see that you kind of have both these options here. And there's times where frequently I kind of wish that Final Fantasy took the route that Dragon Quest does, because I love those early Final Fantasy games so much, and to just kind of had this really refined, updated graphics, turn-based style, I think would be really awesome for fans, longtime fans of Final Fantasy series. But it's just interesting to see both game series paths that they've taken over the years.
Yeah, I agree. And like I think Dragon Quest is still huge in Japan. I didn't read like the numbers or like how many it sold or whatever, but like like it's always been bigger there than here, and I think it still is. And I don't know if like I guess maybe they just like that that like kind of like I don't know, like slipping into an old pair of shoes kind of feeling. You know what I mean? It's like it's familiar, and like it's like comforting, I guess. And then like you don't have to like think about it too hard. The game's not like that challenging at all. It's kind of just like I haven't had to grind yet, like at all. Like I fight enemies along the way, and just like if I see them, I'll kill them. But like I haven't stopped, and like again, it's still very early, but like I haven't stopped and grinded or anything, and like I haven't hit like a tough wall yet, or like a tough boss, or even tough enemies. It's just like it's one of those games. I think I read this or heard this or something. It's one of those. It's like a bedtime story, because like a lot of people in Japan, like they'll get up early in the morning, they'll go to work, they'll come home, they'll eat food, they'll take a bath, and then like they'll play Dragon Quest for like 2 or 3 hours and then go to bed. So it's just like a very relaxing experience, I guess. It's like you don't have to think about it too much. You just kind of pop it in and just like chill out and like hear the next chapter of the story, and then like the next day, like all you're thinking about is like how much more you want to play, and like you want to go back to this world and experience again. So I think something like that, like something like familiar and something like just easy is like a nice wind down from like a long day. I don't do that. I play it in giant chunks just because I have a lot more free time. So, but I'm enjoying the way I play it, and it is relaxing. It's like you see the story, you see the characters, you see the world unfold, and it's pretty while you're doing it, and I enjoy it. And I have not played Spider-Man, but I want to still. So hopefully the next time I'm on, I'll have picked it up and I can give my thoughts on that new game.
Yeah, I still really want to pick up Dragon Quest, and even seeing you play it has kind of confirmed me even more so that it just looks like a really solid turn-based RPG, something that I've been looking for a while, that are really few and far between now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, I love the artwork. Like, the characters do seem really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long game, and that's the only
Yeah.
thing that's holding me off right now is that I just, with my schedule and stuff, I'm pretty bad with playing and beating games.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe that bedtime story mechanic would work for me. I'm just kind of
Right?
playing
Yeah.
it here and there.
Just come home from work, just after you eat dinner and take a shower or something, just pop it on for like 2 or
Yeah.
3 hours. Yeah.
I mean,
Nothing
it
wrong
just
with
takes
that.
me a lot longer to beat games. Like I beat God of War. It just took me about like a little over a month, but I did it.
You did, yeah.
So yeah, I would love to pick that up. Maybe if a sale comes along or something, or if I
Yeah.
get some extra cashola.
Yeah, I figure because so my mentality was that Dragon Quest XI would probably go on sale first before Spider-Man because Spider-Man's like a huge AAA release. But I was like, I want the developers to get more money because they've been in business for like and supplying great games for like 30 years. So I'm like, well, come on, I'll throw them a bone.
Yeah.
I won't be that cheap. But one last thing. The voice acting in the game. So I found out that there was no voice acting in the Japanese version, so like there was nothing to compare it to.
Really?
So yeah, so they just and in the Western release, they're just like, let's add voices because I think in Dragon Quest, well, they didn't have it in Dragon Quest 9 because that was the DS one, but in Dragon Quest 8 they had like these like Cockney British people talking for all the roles, and like for some reason it just worked, and then like I think they just thought that was a good idea and they just keep doing it because all the characters now are just talking like Cockney British slang and like language and stuff, and it's really good. I really like the voice acting. Like there's one character your buddy Eric, who talks with like he's like, it's so bizarre because he talks with like a Brooklyn accent, but he also has like Cockney in there too. So like I can't place what he sounds like. It's just like so bizarre. He'll be like all right, let's go over there and take care of them. And I'm just like, what kind of voice is that? It's like I can't even imitate it. Like it's so strange.
It
like
is
you just
very strange.
You just have to listen to it because like when he talks like in a couple sentences in a row, like before I hit like the next button, I'm like stopping and I'm just like, what did I just listen to? It's still good, but I'm just like, it's confusing. But the two mage girls, their voices are really good. Like the little one has like a really like good like Cockney British accent. I really like it. But so yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's awesome. You've played a handful of Dragon Quest before. I know not all of them.
Not all of them, yeah.
And I know some are different than others, and different things in the games kind of eventually wean you off of them.
Yeah.
Do you kind of foresee that maybe happening with this one, or so far you don't really feel the way that you felt playing some of those prior ones?
So far, probably not. Just because what I realized is that I'm not great with handheld games unless it's like Monster Hunter. Like if it's like a handheld RPG, I kind of fall off just because I like even like playing on my computer, like on Steam, like sitting at a computer chair, like it's just not fun for me. But if I'm sitting like on my bed and like have a big screen and like a controller, I can play a game like for hours. So I think just the fact that it's on like a big screen and like on a console, I'm probably gonna stick with it a lot longer than I would have for like say Dragon Quest 6. I think it was one of the 3DS ones that got re-released.
7 and 8 definitely did. Maybe 6 too. I don't remember.
Maybe like the main character had a green hat and like your friend was like he wore a red outfit and had blonde hair. I don't remember if it was 6 or 4 or 3.7.
One of them had a character that was riding on a dog, I remember.
Yeah, that's the same game.
Okay.
It was green hat guy, red guy with blonde hair, dog rider. You can tell I love this game. And girl.
The Dream Team.
Of course. So I played that game a long time. Well, like relatively long for a Dragon Quest game. It was like maybe like 20 or 30 hours, and like I don't know, man, just like after a while I'm not a fan of just like the handheld like RPG experience. Like it's hard for me to get like really sucked into it unless it's like a really really good game. So that I think that's like one of the reasons I fell off on those games. But this game, like, cause I never played Dragon Quest VIII on PS2 actually. Like I only played it on the 3DS version. So I never had a chance to like get sucked into that one the way I'm kind of getting sucked into this one. So I think that's probably going to keep me interested for a little while longer. The fact that it's on a console, but yeah, just various things throughout the other games just kind of turned me off because like I feel like this game's definitely moving at a much brisker pace because I remember Dragon Quest VI or whatever game that was with Dog Boy and Girl. That game was very, very slowly paced. Like, I remember, like, so Red Guy, spoiler, leaves your party eventually, but he doesn't leave the party until, like, 15 hours in, and, like, that's, like, still the beginning of the game, basically. Like, I barely scratched the surface, and I'm just, like, everything was just taking so long, and it was just, like, it was good, and, like, I liked the story and stuff, but it was just, like, come on, man, like, let's pick it up a little bit, and that definitely like turned me off a little bit. But so far with this game, like the pacing is good, the characters are good, the story is good, I like the music, I like the graphics, and it's on a console, so hopefully I'll stick with it as long as I can. I mean, I beat Ni no Kuni, and that game was long as hell, so hopefully I can stick with this.
Yeah, that was like 80 hours, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And then it was a long one, but I stuck with it.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks awesome, and I really hope to pick it up at some point.
Cool. All right, so that's it for me, I think. Flip it over to you, Juice. What are you playing?
All right. Let's see. Your new game was Dragon Quest. My new game was a demo for Mega Man 11. That was this kind of surprise drop this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be announced in the Nintendo Direct that was planned for Thursday this past week. That was delayed due to the unfortunate earthquakes and typhoons that have hit Japan this past week. It's been a rough week for Japan.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, sending much love from the PAR team over to, the Far East.
That's right.
But yeah, I was just sitting on my phone, like browsing Twitter, and I just saw like a screen grab of Mega Man 11, and it said demo available now. And it was like one of those things where I just kind of like, saw it and like kept scrolling, and then I was like, wait a minute, and I like went back and like available now, like now, and I like it must have been like right when they announced it, and I just hopped on my eShop and there it was. So I was like, all right, cool, I gotta try this out. I've been really pumped to see what this game's all about.
Mm-hmm.
So downloaded really fast. It's Mega Man, like it's really interesting to me because Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10, when they came out, it was a lot of fun because it was a lot of nostalgia, right? Like,
yeah.
The games looked like the classic NES style pixel graphics and stuff. And that was kind of like right when this whole nostalgia bomb kind of thing was just first starting happening with like indie games that have pixel graphics that look like old NES or SNES games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, I guess, towards the middle or tail end of the Wii life cycle.
Yeah.
And now they're everywhere, right? Like, it's almost to the point where it's just kind of like not even a throwback anymore. It's just like this is now. Like, this is what games look like now.
Right, yeah.
Especially indie games.
Seriously.
So, Capcom first surprised everybody by announcing that there even was going to be a Mega Man 11. But not only that, it was going to have this new updated, like, cel-shaded, kind of half-cartoony style to it that, a Mega Man game hasn't looked like that before yet. And I gotta say, like, people were a little nervous about it, but I think it works so great for the series. It gives it such that fresh coat of paint feeling,
Yeah.
And it's coupled with the fact that it controls exactly the same as a Mega Man game would. He has the same jump, like the physics feel the same. His Mega Buster fires the same rate. Even though this is a funny story, Nick, my brother, was telling me that in all the Mega Man games, when he runs, his head kind of bobs up and down.
Yeah.
And in like the early footage of Mega Man 11, his head did not bob at all, and people were like going crazy on Twitter, like, you gotta add the head bob, Captain. Capcom.
Of course they were.
Yeah, we need a head bob. And I was playing the demo, and he's got it now. Like,
hey,
listen, and they put it in, and it's so cool. But yeah, it's so like the presentation is great. I'm a big fan of it. It's a really cool blend of like nostalgia and new things at the same time, like a modern take on Mega Man that I think is probably kind of hard to do, to kind of appease both sides. But I think they did a really good job. It's kind of weird because Mega Man has like a voice now. Like when he gets hit, you hear him say like "oh" or "ow," and like that's kind of weird because you're never really used to that.
Is the voice like really whiny? Because I know in all the X games, like Mega Man X, like 4 onward, he has a very whiny voice. Is it like a little kid voice or is it like a man voice?
No, it's like a teenager voice, I guess. Like
All right.
it's deeper. Like it's not bad. It's not annoying or anything.
All right.
And he hasn't really talked so far. It's just like kind of guttural reactions.
Gotcha. So what is the demo? Is it like one stage or is it like the opening mission or something like that?
It's one stage. It might give you another one if you beat the stage. Unfortunately, I have not beaten it yet because it's super hard.
So is it a man? Is it like
Yeah, it's
butt man or
it's
something?
Block Man.
Block man. Okay.
Yeah,
I was close.
So when you load up the game, you can pick from 3 different difficulties. There is I think it's casual, which is like someone who's never. It tells you someone who's never played a Mega Man game before.
Mm-hmm.
I think common or something, which is like somebody who likes Mega Man but hasn't played it in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then normal, which is like for serious Mega Man fans or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I should be playing it on an easier difficulty, but I was like kind of refusing to, and I was like, no, I want to play it on like the normal classic Mega Man, setting that they intended on.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was gonna be as hard as it is.
Yeah.
But it's rough, man. Like I've been dying. I haven't played too much. I've only played for about an hour maybe, but
yeah.
Yeah, like there are these really crazy parts where you're on a like a treadmill thing that's like pulling you backwards, and there's a giant wall of spikes behind you, and these wall of they're like these breakable blocks that come down in these giant walls that you have to shoot through the blocks in a certain pattern to like get out the other side of the wall.
Okay.
So you have to do that while the treadmill is pulling you towards these spikes, and like man, it's tough. And then when you die. Like I feel like the early Mega Man games kind of would like every couple screens they would give you like a restart at like the third or fourth screen or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
This one is like there's one checkpoint and that's it. Like and if you die before that halfway point, you start back at the beginning of the level. And if you died like at the boss, you're gonna start back at that halfway checkpoint. And like there's a lot of hard stuff in between that you have to keep doing.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing in typical Mega Man fashion, you play the game. You get it to a hard part, you die a bunch, but you're learning how to get through that hard part, and you just kind of keep going at it to eventually get through it.
Yeah, a lot of Mega Man is like trial and error. Like you never beat Mega Man like your first go. You got to die a couple times for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a tough challenge, but it's not like impossible. Like screw this game challenge.
Like it's not unfair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are new abilities for Mega Man, and this demo actually gives you 2 different of the Robot Master's abilities. I don't know the names of them actually off the top of my head, but one is like an electric one, and one is a drill one. So I'm going to guess Electric Man and Drill Man.
Well, Elect Man and Drill Man are already man. So let's say Zap Man and Spiral Man.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh, if they are Zapman and Spiral Man, I get $10,000 from PAR.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. I'll tell you that check right away. What's cool? I never played Mega Man 8 or I think it's 8. But
8 is the PS1 one.
Yeah, I never played that one. But when you get new abilities in Mega Man 11. It's not just like a color palette swap. Like he actually looks his whole costume changes. Like when you get this, what did we say, Zapman? When you get his power, like you get like these like big lightning bolts on your shoulders and stuff, and like his helmet kind of changes to like a lightning bolt kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, so his whole outfit changes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there are these new double gear techniques that you get in the game. One of them seems to slow down time to make a lot of the timing-based stuff a little bit easier. And another one just kind of bumps up your buster and makes it a little bit stronger.
Are these like extra powers, like rush powers, or are these like man powers?
You have them all the time, and you can access them all the time. And you can even put them in, like run them together. I think it's the ZR, the ZL buttons. ZR is the slowdown time, and ZL is the like Mega Buster power up. And when you run them, there's like a little like timer, I guess, of like how long you have to use that. Gotcha. And then it'll empty out. And there are these new items in the game that look like little screws, and I think they are for the gear powers, where they kind of refill it back up for you a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but they're definitely helpful, and I had to use them. Like, there's a mid boss that's like I think he's been actually in other Mega Man games, but it's like 4 spiky cylinders on top of each other to form like one big cylinder. But like one of those cylinders is like a face, and you have to shoot that face to hurt it. But like he separates and like goes up in the air and then drops all 4 spiky cylinders like on the ground, and like it moves so quickly and it's really hard to dodge. Mm-hmm. But if you use that slowdown gear mechanic, it makes it definitely a little bit easier to dodge.
I mean, that sounds like a Mega Man boss from a previous game.
Yeah. And of course, he's in the level twice. Like, it's gonna be forever to be in the first time. And then I made it to him again at the end, and he killed me, and it was game over. And I was like, all right, I'm done playing for that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's really cool. It feels great. The sound effects are different. Like, I miss when you get the energy, the little yellow energy pellets, and you hear that like as your life fills up. Yeah. That's gone now. It's just like one little like wow like sound. And yeah, I miss the old sound effects. So therefore the game sucks.
Boycott. # Mega Man sucks. Is the music good?
This level, it's not bad. Personally, I don't think it's that great, but it has that like upbeat like tempo, almost like dancey like music that you would expect from a Mega Man. So maybe it's just this track that I'm not that crazy about. So I don't want to really comment too much on the music right now. But yeah, the track in this one level, I wasn't that thrilled by. It was a little too poppy-ish, I guess, for me.
Yeah.
But
so I don't know if you know. Is it like the same people who worked on the older ones, or is this like a new team? Like, is it the same composer and the same like character designers and stuff like that, or is it like a new age Capcom team?
I don't know off the top of my head. I think it is the same composer, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to look into that.
Gotcha. I was just curious.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. The demo's available on PS4, Switch, Steam, and I think Xbox One. So yeah,
wait, it's not a Nintendo exclusive?
No.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep. It's available everywhere. It's free. Yeah, check it out. It's coming out October 2nd, I think.
That seems so
pretty
fast.
soon. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So that is Mega Man 11.
What else you got?
So when we talked about our Switch games last year, or just overall games of the year last year, I had a Kamiko on the Switch rated pretty highly. And if you're unfamiliar, that's like a top-down style adventure game, kind of Zelda-y, but also has its own flair to it. Mm-hmm. And the developer of that game, he goes by Springmore. His first game was this game called Fairune, and he made a couple of them actually that came out originally on mobile devices and then came out on the 3DS eShop. And on the Switch now, there's a Fairune Collection where it's Fairune, Fairune 2, Fairune Origins, and some other game called Fairune Legacy, I think, that never came out. And
like the most generic like subtitle.
Yeah, I know.
Fairune Revolution.
Yeah, Fairune Odyssey. But yeah, it's a compilation of 4 games for $9 that you can get on Switch.
Nice.
And yeah, they're short little games. I got it just because I enjoyed Kamiko so much, and I really like pretty much everything that this developer is doing. I'm following him on Twitter. He's working on his next game called Picontier. That's supposed to be coming out soon. There's no date for that yet, but it's really great sprite work, really awesome music, and this cool exploration / arcadey style of gameplay that just like made Kamiko I know so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was like, I want to play something. Let me check this out, and I loaded up Fairune, and like I instantly got hooked. This game is really awesome. It's like a mix of The Legend of Zelda, the original one on the NES, and maybe like a little bit of Final Fantasy and some almost like point and click adventure kind of puzzle exploration kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like all kind of merged into this one experience that's really interesting. It's got really, of course, really great pixel art. The music is kick-ass. It's a very unique experience that I don't think has been replicated before. I could be wrong, but I guess because the game, when it was out on the 3DS, it really utilized the two screens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how they have it on the Switch is that they kind of made 3 screens on your monitor, where like the left screen is like the world that you play in, and then to the right of it is a map in the top, and on the bottom is like your inventory.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 boxes on the screen that are like kind of open all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And how the game works is there's like a world for you to explore, and you have to find certain items that can help you progress. And it's got a really interesting combat system where there's about maybe 20 or 25 enemies in the game, and each one has a certain level that you have to match their level in order to defeat them. Like, for example, it tells you there's an item in the book, in the game. It's like this book that kind of is your ancient tomb that's giving you tips and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when you access that book, it tells you your recommended monster to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is it's telling you a monster that is the same level as you that you can successfully fight.
Okay.
So if you start off like your recommended monster, the level 1 is a blue slime, which Dragon
Classic.
Quest, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
And the combat's weird because there actually is no button to attack or anything. You just kind of walk into the monster, and you kill it, but it also hurts you. So it'll when you're fighting a monster of your level, it will give you 1 experience for killing it, but it also does 1 hit point of damage to you. So you have to kind of kill as many as you can and have your experience bar fill up, but then you got to be conscious of your health. If you have to heal, you go back to this like little healing tree that can be planted that will restore your health, and then go kill some more. And then when you level up and you kill that earlier monster, you kill them, you don't get hurt, but you also don't get any experience because it's too low level.
Gotcha.
So you kind of like basically you go through all the level 1 monsters, right? You kill the slime enough times to reach level 2.
Yeah.
Now you can fight a level 2 monster, which is like a mushroom guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can still fight monsters that are levels above you, like a level 3 monster, a level 4 monster, but you only get 1 experience for killing them, and they do a lot more damage. And if you fight a monster that's like way higher than you, it'll just kill you instantly. So it's interesting that you kind of have to follow this order of fighting.
Yeah.
But it also helps you kind of know where to go, right? Like, if I'm early on in the game, I'm going to go to the screens that have the blue slimes on them because I can fight them now. So that means that I should be around this area looking for clues and, like, maybe some hidden, like, trees that I can, like, sneak behind and find a secret area, or just maybe find whatever item I need to progress, like a key or something. So it kind of clues you in that direction.
Is there like equipment, or do you just walk into them and punch them? Like, do you have swords or anything? Or
you have a sword. You get a sword and shield in the beginning of the game. But yeah, as for like, there is no real like attack button or anything. You just literally walk into the monster. So it was definitely weird. It started to feel a little more natural the more you played, but never fully. Like, it was just because your instincts, right? You walk into a monster without pressing anything.
Right.
It means you're going to get hurt and do nothing to the monster.
Right.
But in this game, is how you attack also.
So is it just that your sword gets stronger? Do you get stronger? Like, how does it show, or does it just you're level 2 now, so you do 2 damage? You know what I mean? Like, how are like the stats? Like, are there stats, or is it just your level?
No, the game is very simplified. So I think the idea is just that you level up. So you are 1 point stronger, I guess, or whatever.
Okay.
Like there are no like different like skill trees or anything like that. It's just you're level 2 now, so you can fight level 2 monsters.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's really challenging at points. Like I unfortunately had to use a walkthrough maybe once or twice through the game.
Yeah.
When I was playing the first one, because I was just walking around in circles for like over half an hour, and I was like, look, I don't want to be doing this all night. Like I want to progress.
Yeah.
And the few times I had to use the walkthrough, it was something that was really, I don't think, laid out that well in the game actually. Like
a little cryptic.
Not even that so much as like, for example, the game is laid out in like screens like the original Legend of Zelda, where if you go up 1, left 1, up 1, and then your map starts to populate.
Yeah.
And there was one part where I did not know where to go. I was so confused. I was looking everywhere. I just didn't know where I was supposed to head to next. And I look it up on the walkthrough, and there's this one area that has these columns, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like cover a portion of the screen. And behind the columns is a road pointing up. So, I would go up that road and go to the screen up ahead. And what I didn't know is that behind the columns is actually a road pointing to the right, and you don't see that road at all. Like, there's no clue for you to even think that you could go to the right there.
Right, yeah.
I guess unless you looked at the map maybe and saw like an unexplored area there. But like I just thought that was a wall. Like I didn't even think that I could go right there and access a new area.
Yeah.
And that's where I found it. And then later in the game, you're like up in the clouds in this one part. And like, you see the end of the clouds along like the right and left side of your screen.
Yeah.
And there are little holes in the clouds. So if you walk over a hole, you fall out of the cloud and go back all the way down to like Earth, and it takes like a long time to get back up. Mm-hmm. So I was really trying to not fall off the cloud. And so I see like the end of the cloud on the screen. And I'm like, okay, obviously I can't go left or right there. No, it turns out you are supposed to go left or right there, and it just enters you into a new room.
Of course.
Like, there's no like path that kind of leads off the screen to make you think you can go that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
And that was the 2 times I got tripped up was because of that. So that was kind of annoying.
Yeah. Kind of like I don't want to say poor game design, but maybe like tricky game design, kind of make you like think outside the box, I guess.
Yeah. No, it was definitely. It was weird, but it was, I guess, an early game.
Yeah.
I forgave it instantly because I enjoyed the game so much.
Did you beat that game?
So I did beat Fairune 1. There was another point where I got stuck where you go down to this dungeon at the end, and like there's an icon on the ground, and you put this item down, and it lights the icon up, and then nothing happened. It was just blackness, and I was like, is this game broken? Like I put this thing down, it lit up, nothing happened. I pretty sure I have everything. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I spent like another half an hour looking around trying to figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. Went back to the walkthrough. It turned out that there was a puzzle earlier that I activated that opened a door, but it also turned on the statue thing in the room that I had to take my sword and put it in that statue to upgrade the sword.
What?
And I had no idea. Like there was no like, yeah, I don't know. But you needed an upgraded sword to get, I guess, once you lay at that area to get to the final boss.
Okay. That seems like cryptic NES logic.
Yeah, so that one was super cryptic, and that was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But I got to the boss, and here's the thing. The boss fight was super awesome. It was super tough. I died a bunch. When you die, it says, do you want to try again in easy mode? And I was like, no, fuck that. Like, oh, my God. It made me so angry every time that message came up. But how the boss works, like, so you get that sword, you put it in the area, and then, I don't know, why this happens, but like a light shines down on your character, and you grow these giant wings, and then you start flying, and now you're like moving left or right, like flying on the screen.
Yeah.
And a boss shows up. He's like this big like demon wizard guy, and he's shooting at you. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And I press like the A button, and I shoot like a blast from my sword. And I'm like, oh, all right, I guess I'm attacking now. And like, so now I'm like dodging his attacks and trying to hit him, and like, you know, he dies and morphs into another boss, and like he's tough, and then I die, and then like there's a lot back and forth, and like eventually figuring it out and beating it.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was strange that like this whole game of no combat, right, of just like walking and attacking, and you know, it introduces this new like fight mechanic at the final boss.
Yeah.
It was just strange because like maybe people would kind of feel duped here, like, oh, all right, now I have to do this like rhythmic, like timing based, like dodging and shooting that was not in this game at any point.
Yeah.
But now it's here at the boss fight, so that was a little strange. It was cool, like I got it, I picked it up eventually, but I just feel like it was kind of a strange design decision to kind of throw that in, you know, randomly at the end.
Yeah, that seems kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe he just thought like walking into the boss over and over again would be boring, so he just jazzed it up a little bit.
Yeah, you know, and this is a game made by one guy. It was one of his first games. Like, so I wasn't too harsh on it. I just thought it was a little strange of a decision.
It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so I beat that. I started Fairune 2. A lot of what I read is that Fairune 2 is a lot like Fairune 1, but just a bigger, grander, even like more, I guess, rewarding experience. There's a lot more to explore, a lot more items and stuff. And, you know, the inventory screens are different. It's all on one screen now instead of the 3 separated screens. And it's looking awesome. So I'm only about an hour into Fairune 2, but it's like the same game, just bigger and better so far. So I'm really enjoying it.
It's like the same graphics, it's the same like Zelda E kind of top-down graphics.
Yeah, it's like the same exact engine. Like he took the same characters and some of the same enemies and stuff, but just like made a way bigger world with like more to explore, more underground areas and stuff, more items.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the Fairune Collection. It's on Switch. It's $9. If you like Kamiko, if you like old style NES, like top-down, like adventure kind of exploration games like I do, you're gonna absolutely love it. It's awesome, and
Sounds
definitely
good.
Check it out.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it for me, and that's probably going to be it for this episode, unless you got anything else to mention.
No.
All right, well, I want to thank you for hopping on here and joining me today.
Sure. Thanks for having me again.
Yep. You know, maybe next time we'll just try and get Chimpy a little bit earlier.
Listen, I mean, you can try. I mean, she's a fickle beast, you know, but good luck.
All right. That's all for this week. Remember, Press A repeatedly posts new episodes on Tuesdays on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you. You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Press A Repeatedly. I'm at Oaf7724, and Zul is off the grid.
Yes.
You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out over at pressarepeatedly.com. That's all for this week. Justin and Zul signing off. And remember to hopelessly blast your Mega Buster when you first encounter a new Robot Master. Press A repeatedly.